Recognize the gentleman from Pennsylvania, Dr. Joyce, for 5 minutes for his questions.
Thank you, Chairman Palmer, and thank you for holding this important hearing and for our panel for being with us this morning to testify. The legislation under consideration today represents another step forward in this committee's ongoing efforts to improve America's domestic critical mineral supply chain. While we work to onshore and scale up domestic mining and processing of these materials, legislation like this will help in our efforts to recover the materials that would otherwise be discarded. With the equipment used for advanced manufacturing and precision agriculture, both very important in Pennsylvania's 13th Congressional District, we will continue to see more waste generated that contains valuable critical materials. We need to develop both a strategy and the capacity to recover these materials rather than sending the waste for processing to China, who continues to dominate the supply chain. This is an economic and a national security imperative. We cannot afford to allow China to dictate the future of the global economy. These bills will improve our ability to recover our own critical materials and to help America back in control of these essential supply chains. Mr. Buckingham, how will treating certain supply waste as an opportunity for recovering value rather than simple material to be remediated and disposed of, how will that help to strengthen our critical mineral supply?
Thank you, Representative, for the question. I think, and that's what guides us here at DISA. I think we can make a tremendous impact in strengthening our critical mineral supply chains by recovering minerals from these waste streams. And that's what guides us. Looking at uranium, for example, we import 97% of our uranium. We have an untapped resource sitting in these legacy sites that we can put to productive use. And Idaho National Labs put out a great report several months ago on this very topic. And when we look to bring on new mines, for example, that can take 10 to 15 years. Well, in these tailings and waste piles, it's already there. You don't need to mine it. You can quickly go and treat that material in a safe and sustainable manner and bring online a tremendous amount of critical minerals.
In follow-up, Mr. Buckingham, would you agree that directing EPA to develop a critical national mineral recovery strategy and coordinate federal efforts as outlined in the CHARM Act draft will help identify regulations that might need to be revised in order to allow and incentivize critical mineral recovery?
Yes, Representative, I think that is imperative.
Thank you. Mr. Konecki, in your testimony, you mentioned that the path of least resistance is to send waste abroad for processing rather than to attempt to navigate the regulatory framework right here in the United States. How does this reality impact domestic processors?
Yeah, that's what I mentioned. Some of the regulations create challenges for local producers, domestic producers, because the foreign producers don't have those rules. They don't have record regulations. They don't have.
So it's not a level playing field, is what you're telling us.
Exactly, 100%.
How will the BRACE Act improve your ability to receive, to store, and process lithium-ion batteries? And how will that in turn incentivize keeping the recovered critical minerals within our domestic supply chain?
It'll provide clarity on what those rules and regulations are and then provide enforcement of those rules. I think that's the biggest thing, is to level the playing field and ensure that the regulations that we all kind of operate under today, we have a record Part B permit in our site and we operate under that permit, but everybody else doesn't, and this will help people enforce the rules.
Will that clarity allow you to increase production, which you and I know is so important?
Absolutely, absolutely. That clarity allows us to get investment to be able to do that.
The legislation that's under consideration today represents how seriously this committee is working toward the goal of a more robust domestic critical material supply. And for both the state of our economic and our national security, as I stated earlier, I look forward to continue to work with this committee to move these bills forward. Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and I yield the remaining time back to the committee. Thank you.